DNVR Broncos live coming to you from Studio A, where the A stands for astronomical.
That is your best in weeks.
Wow.
Good job.
You know, you take a sick day and you refresh the mind.
So what is astronomical?
I know. Dre'Mont Jones' franchise tag number.
Wow.
Good job.
Wow.
We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Get over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up to get in on their incredible deals. How are we doing, gents?
Doing great. Happy that you're back. I think you're doing better.
You got much better. Turns out that like resting when you feel bad makes you feel less bad.
Yep.
I haven't always subscribed to that theory.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly you rebound.
Took like a 4-hour nap in the middle of the day yesterday.
Yeah.
Had a really weird dream that I texted Zach about.
Wait,
that was
you didn't tell me about
nap
it.
Dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
What happened? You didn't tell me.
So I think this is directly because I was literally sleeping through what normally would be work.
Oh.
I had a dream that Zach and I got invited to go on like an ESPN show. It's kind of like Around the Horn.
Let's go.
But I like wasn't really in on the details. So I was just like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. Like I'll come on. And like we were zooming in from our phones.
Wow.
So Zach of course had this like really nice setup. Like he was prepared for it. And I was just like, is this work? And I'm like holding my phone in selfie mode. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So then we do the first segment and we're talking all Broncos. So I'm like, oh, this is great.
There we
and
go.
then I
Easy.
thought we were done. So then I like set my phone and I'm like, man, I'm sleepy. And then I don't know how I slept in my dream, but then I fell asleep in my dream. And then I woke up to hearing Zach being like, yeah, so like I don't really follow the Buffs. That's normally RK who talks about this stuff. But I have heard like their recruiting class is pretty solid. And they're like, okay, yeah, well, Ryan's apparently not here anymore. And I'm like, wait, I'm here. And then they couldn't hear me. And then I woke up.
Wow.
Slept through Buffs talk on
ESPN. Invited on ESPN to talk Buffs. Slept right through it.
Wow.
Oh, man. Good thing that was a nightmare.
Yes, it was such a weird
Kind of a
pivot.
dream.
That is weird.
But it was definitely my body being like, you shouldn't be sleeping. You should be working.
That is very weird.
Or your body being like, you need to sleep so that you don't sleep when we need you.
That is a good point. Okay, let's get to better and more real topics. Dre'Mont Jones.
Yeah.
Is this a more realistic topic?
Maybe not.
Oh.
You guys are the ones that came up with it. So the options are let him walk,
Yep. Bye.
sign him to a long-term deal,
Money.
or sign him to a franchise tag.
Lots of money. And then you could maybe even trade him if you sign him
The
to a
old
franchise
tag and trade, which gets talked about a lot more than it ever happens.
Yes.
Big time. Happens
Yes.
way more. And maybe that'll happen this year. Probably not with Dre'Mont Jones, but maybe it happens with Lamar Jackson. That's going to be an interesting one to follow. But Dre'Mont Jones, the biggest name when talking about the franchise tag. So the most important thing is if you're going to offer someone something or you're thinking of offering someone something, you got to understand what the price is. So there's kind of two routes the Broncos could take. Everyone always talks about the franchise tag for understandable reasons. It's used a lot more than what is called the transition tag. But just to explain the difference between the franchise tag and the transition tag, if you franchise tag a player, they are guaranteed to be back on your team next year unless someone wants to sign them in free agency and give you 2 first-round picks. That just never happens.
So amazing.
That would be so cool.
And it just won't happen with Dre'Mont Jones. So we can
It
kind
might
of
with Lamar.
Wait, with Lamar though, I would.
That's why they may do the non-exclusive franchise tag, which raises it a couple more $1 million, which makes it so a team can't do that because you've seen quarterbacks go for more than that in the past couple of years. Just Deshaun Watson last year, a guy that hadn't played for a year, went for 3 first-round picks.
And
so,
you know that Deshaun Watson has like a $50 million cap hit this year? Meanwhile, Russell Wilson has 22. Why is... For so many reasons. Why are the Browns not being shit on way more than the Broncos?
You want to know why he has the $50 million cap hit instead of Russell Wilson's 22? Is because they messed around and helped Deshaun last year by giving him a $1 million cap hit so that when he was suspended, he missed like $20,000 a game or something crazy.
And I think the reason the Browns don't get flexed on as much is because like the way people dunk on the Broncos is all jokes. It's like, ho, 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 let's ride. And nobody's making jokes about Deshaun Watson, obviously.
True.
And so, like, it's not fun to dunk on him. You just have to say, like, oh, yeah, that's a horrible organization doing horrible things. Like, they're not humans. You know, like, then there's no fun in that.
Don't
like,
give them spotlight.
True.
Sort of
yeah.
thing.
I don't know. I think there's like so much more at play here. I think you have the main crux of it down, but also just like no one talked about how terrible like Deshaun Watson was when he came back.
He was awful.
Like that should have been like a top topic on NFL Live every day. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
What is
Nobody
wrong
wants to
with this
touch
guy?
it.
Yeah, fair.
He,
I
on
wonder
the other
what
hand.
like Cleveland
boy.
Sports Talk Radio is saying.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't
I
have a
mean,
choice.
what a tough spot to be in.
Speaking of
Yep.
choices, the arm over the mic arm is an odd choice.
It's been a recent thing. Well, the problem is I go like this, and then you're kind of the dino hands going. And so if you just kind of put this up there, then this doesn't float away. It's half the time, like it started a few weeks ago when I was having the drift issue pretty badly. So I could just anti-drift like this. It's a nice little armrest, honestly.
nice.
Looks
Yeah.
like
I
you're about
think
to
you're the
play.
issue.
Looks
I
like you're
don't-
about to play an instrument.
I was thinking like
Yeah,
since
exactly.
Hank's such a roller coaster, he has to strap in the seatbelt.
It's very true. Do you know the new nickname? He went from Roller Coaster Hank yesterday, which
Yeah.
he still was, to Hater Hank. Because he hates everyone. He hates my bets, which then that means he hates me.
He took
Obviously,
the Bears
he,
to win the
he-
NFC.
Well, I said good value there. He hates Justin
Because
Fields.
they're terrible.
Oh my gosh!
No,
I mean,
I mean,
he's calling
yeah.
Justin
I'll
Fields
kinda give you that
what
one.
John Elway called Lamar Jackson. Like, go play wide
Whoa.
receiver, man.
No.
Go be a
I
running
said
back.
running back.
John Elway said he's going to be a good quarterback for someone.
Yeah.
For someone.
Yes, which meant not me.
Yeah, he hates everyone. So you're back. He probably hates you now.
Yeah, I mean,
in the group.
something weird has happened to Hank where he's turned into a hater.
Yeah.
I just the thing, it's that thing, you know, when people said like, you know, George Payton isn't that bad, and you were like, well, I mean, come on, and so it just kind of pushed you toward being a George Payton hater. I've just had like a string of those, just bang, 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 over and over, and it's like the Chiefs thing where it's like the Chiefs are good at football.
Don't talk about them.
But no. I just, again, to rehash, the Chiefs are good at football. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, well, no, like, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's really good. Like, if you're going to bet on somebody, you can't bet on the Chiefs. And so it just kind of like pushes you to like defend the take more.
Chiefs are the only thing he doesn't hate, apparently.
Yep.
No, oh my God. I
After
do
a
hate the
while-
Chiefs. I really do hate the Chiefs.
After a while, like if you keep doing the same thing over and over, that's who you are.
Yeah,
It's like it's not
true.
a.
Yeah.
What are your
No.
thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Once
on,
is coincidence, twice is a something, 3 times is a trend.
and then 4 times is a hater.
Or no, 3 times is a pattern.
Yeah, and
4
Hank,
times is a hater for
yep,
sure.
you've got to hater set. Do you hate Dre'Mont Jones?
No, I don't hate Dre'Mont Jones.
Should they franchise tag him?
I would hate that.
He hates it. He hates it. So
Speaking of nicknames really quick, Scoop Stevens is catching on big time.
I
Oh.
thought about it last night while watching a TV show. It
A
popped in my
dream?
head. I'm
Oh.
like, kid's name, maybe.
Yes, let's go.
Although, you know who hates that? Hank hates that. He
Oh.
says it's not a real name. Man, I mean, I'm not even making this stuff up anymore.
I
It's just-
I
it's
heard
just
about
the
a kid
truth.
on TikTok whose name, like a mom, you know, mom talk. It's where like moms talk about their kids.
Sure.
There was a mom on there who said one of her kids' name is Concrete.
That's not a name. That's like what you guys were
That's
talking
tough.
about a couple days ago.
But then I was thinking,
it's
and
like,
it's a
oh,
girl.
it could be a name.
And I was thinking like maybe she just goes by Connie.
Yeah,
I mean, she's certainly not going by concrete. She's
Certainly
not going
not.
by Crete.
it's interesting.
Crete.
Creedy.
There was Cleat. He was a NFL referee, Cleat Blakeman.
Yeah.
Cleat, I mean, definitely worse, especially if you're going to be doing something on grass.
Crete is weird.
Crete, that's a town in Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Crete,
also
Colorado.
Greece.
I was
Crete,
gonna
Greece.
say, yeah, sounds like
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think it's like an
I
ancient-
think
yeah.
it's the largest island there.
it would be funny
Yeah, that
if
sounds
there
right.
isn't a Crete, Colorado, and you just went to Crete, Greece. And now
I recently pitched Henry Jr. and Lexi Jr. Shot down immediately.
you never see the female juniors.
I know. I
No,
thought I
you
was being
don't.
innovative.
We should make that a thing.
Yeah.
Normalize
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would it be, junior or would it be the second?
I
up
think
to you.
so.
It's up to you.
My understanding was always that it's junior if it's like a normal situation, but it's the second if somebody died, like your father died.
Oh.
And so I'm not sure, and
then
that
you
could be
drop the
totally
junior
wrong.
and
No,
become the
Pat
second?
Surtain the second.
But see, and
Pat
that's what
Surtain
threw
the
me
first,
off.
Still kicking.
He is.
Yes, but
Yeah,
that's
true.
how I
That's a
thought
good
it worked.
point.
I think it's just a matter of preference.
Maybe.
It probably is. And as Ashton in the comments says, everything is made up.
True.
So yeah.
All right. Speaking of made up, what did they decide to make up at? Shut up, Hank. as the salary cap hit for a franchise tag on a defensive end this year?
$19.7 million. And the transition tag, so what's different about the transition tag is if you tag someone on the transition tag, they can go sign with another team, and the team who transition tagged them has an opportunity to match that deal.
Right.
So that's why you just don't see that often. But if the Broncos wanted to do that, you get a $2 million discount, $17.4 million. But the real number that we're talking about, franchise tag, $19.7 million.
It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense because I think maybe I'm off here. I think you could actually sign him to like a 3-year deal for much less than that per year.
You would think. I think
maybe he only wants 5-year deals, and that makes things more difficult. But I think you could do a 3-year deal, like 2 guaranteed at under $15 million a year. Mm-hmm. And so essentially you'd be paying $10 million more for a second year.
And that is what's interesting about Dre'Mont is the first half of last year, he was playing to nearly be a $19, $20 million player for the first half of the year. And that's when we were talking about, okay, are you going to give him a contract extension now, try to get ahead of it? Then we also heard Dre'Mont many times last year continuing to refer to money and just how important getting top dollar is for Dre'Mont or for him to get the top money. But then the second half of last season, right when they traded Bradley Chubb, I believe he had 1 sack after they traded Bradley Chubb. And when that happens, that took his value down a lot. And so you kind of have to figure out what his value is, Ryan. I think a lot of people think his value is right around $15 million a year.
Yeah. Hank, the floor is yours. You can choose to talk about Dre'Mont Jones or the thing that you've just been dying to say on your computer.
Wow, only one or the other.
Oh, yeah, you have to choose.
Oh, well, this seems way more important. So if you name a kid after a relative who is not the father, that's when it's the second. So if it was like, yes, Pat, the Surtains made a slight mistake, but I mean, it's a name.
It's not a mistake.
You could do it would be stupid. I mean, PS2 is way cooler than PS Junior.
PSJ.
PSJ, yeah, PS2 is sick. No fault at all to them. But yeah, like if you were to name after like your grandfather, like an uncle, or
Interesting.
Also, if you're going to give him $19.5 million, just offer that amount of money to Javon Hargrave or Daron Payne or something. Like, what are you doing here? Like,
you cheated, just like the
I thought if I said it quickly, I wouldn't get cut off. But why wouldn't you do that?
Go ahead.
Like, I mean, Daron Payne, he's 28, 29, and he had 11.5 sacks. Javon Hargrave, I think also 11.5 sacks. He's 30. Like, if you want to give that kind of money out, there's a couple of really good options who you're not saying like, oh, we hope he's this guy. We think he's that guy. Like, if you want to go get Dre'Mont, sure, offer him $14 million, $13 million. I think there's a chance that if you say like, hey, we'll give you $14, $15 million, it's a 1-year deal. It's kind of this prove it halfway in between deal. There's a chance that he takes that. Now, there's a chance that somebody says, you know what, we'll give you 3 years at $16 million. And he says, well, how could I pass that up? And that would make a lot of sense. But I would offer Dre'Mont kind of that short 1-year kind of prove it deal. And I might even go up to like the $15 million. But if you're spending that kind of money, just go get, there's some big names on the market.
So Dre'Mont Jones says, I'm not looking for $15 million. I need top value.
Yeah.
Are you letting him, 1, walk, 2, giving him 4-year, $80 million deal, which is $20 million a year, or are you giving him the franchise tag at 19.7?
I'm saying have fun. I can go get Daron Payne for that money.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not going to sign you. You can walk in that case, because if you give him that franchise tag of nearly $20 million per year, you're saying he's elite. Other guys that have that, DeForest Buckner, he's elite. Chris Jones, he's elite. Jonathan Allen, those guys are 18, 20, and $21 million. So you're putting him in that category. We have seen flashes of elite from Dre'Mont Jones, but that doesn't make him an elite player yet. So no, you can't do that. You're putting yourself in such a tough position if you pay good players or great players elite money.
And Daron Payne is only 25. So,
crazy.
I was going to say the only reason why you signed Dre'Mont Jones to that deal is because you say, okay, well, he's going to be that good by the time he gets to that age. But it doesn't add up with Daron Payne. Now, Daron Payne is going to be a highly sought-after free agent. So
he's probably going to get 21, 22.
Yeah, and you're going to have to battle with everyone else who wants him. Whereas Dre'Mont Jones, obviously, whenever a guy's in your building, you have a better chance of signing him.
But, like, if I think that Daron Payne is $6 million a year better than Dre'Mont Jones. So if you're willing to give Dre'Mont $19 million, offer $25 to Deron Payne, and I think that contract has a better chance of working out. And there's probably a different way to go. I mean, the other option is you say Tremaine Edmonds, you're a linebacker, you're making what, 12, 13, 14 million? Would you rather have Dre'Mont Jones or Tremaine Edmonds? I'd take Tremaine Edmonds.
There's also another major part of this conversation where we're just focused on the defensive side of the ball, where I think we need to focus on the other side of the ball, because you don't just have to spend this money on a defensive lineman. And let's dig into that. First, I got to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. If you go to a Broncos game this year, guys, week 1, are you seeing Dre'Mont Jones on the field?
No. Well, depends on who they're playing.
Oh, okay, fair. Are you seeing him in orange and blue?
No.
Henry?
Unless they're playing the Bears.
I mean, he's gonna go wherever he gets the most money, which is the right thing to do. The odds of the Broncos being the team that offers him the most money when there's gonna be at least 10 people calling, that's slim. So I'm gonna say no.
That's the right take. I completely agree with you. I say no as well. But if you want to see Russell Wilson play, check out our friends over at Game Time, where they're gonna get you the best deals for seats. Or you don't have to wait that long to go to Game Time. If you want to check out the Nuggets as they come back from the All-Star game, you want to see the back-to-back MVP and Jokic, go check out Game Time. If you want to check out the Avs on their run to the playoffs, another Stanley Cup run, check out Game Time. They're going to give you the best tickets. They've got flash deals on there, and I love their interface. We've got the link in our description. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there. If you're listening on the podcast side, we've also got the link right there. Click on it, and it'll take you to all the events you could dream of.
I was thinking it would have been so cool if Jokic just decided to never score a point in the All-Star game. Like 10-time All-Star, 0 points in the All-Star game.
That would be sick.
It would have been so sick.
There were a couple where he like got to the rim and was like, "Oh, who am I passing to?"
Yeah, he's like, I don't.
One of them
no
was
one
just a
wants
turnover.
layup.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is a big sunglasses week. You want to know why? Today, very sunny, very bright,
That's
55.
the easy one. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, not the first person to wear sunglasses on the set. And, you know, so it's nice and sunny today. Tomorrow, snow. But then it's probably going to be sunny again.
Yep.
Hank, as he so, you know, brightly noticed, that the sun on the snow is even brighter than the sun just on a normal day.
It's crazy.
So you got to have your Shady Rays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huge Shady Rays week. I'm a huge Shady Rays guy. And I cannot wait to see those polarized lenses work all their magic, whether it be today, tomorrow, the summer. Oh, summer feels close.
It does. That's why I wore shorts today.
Oh, wow. You leaned in. I love that.
Yep. I was like, oh, it's mid-50s.
Check out our friends over at Shady Rays. And you can even use the code DNVR for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. So check out our friends over at Shady Rays.
Check them out. And if the Broncos spend, let's say, $15 million, a number I've seen thrown out is 4 years, $60 million. That means $15 million a year. Is that the right price for Dre'Mont?
That's fair.
That's about
price.
Yeah, that's about what he's going to cost. Again, I would say like I'd give him a year or two on that, but I'm not willing to commit 4 years.
And see, he's not going to be willing to take,
assuming somebody offers more, which I think they will.
And I think if he hits the open market, if the Broncos don't franchise tag him or get a deal done before before free agency starts, I think he's gone, because I don't think he's going to be a player that goes out there, sees that his market is so much smaller than what the Broncos were offering, and then comes back. I think he is going to go get 16, 17. Maybe a team throws $18 million. Remember when Malik Jackson after the Super Bowl went and got $15 million? That's still a lot now.
Yeah.
Imagine what that was 7 years ago.
What would that be, 20 now?
Yeah, and it was like, just like Dre'Mont. Malik, really good player. It shows flashes of being elite, but he wasn't an elite player. He was a great player. That's what Dre'Mont is, and someone went out because interior pass rush, we talk about it often, is a valuable position. People will overpay for that. So let's say that the Broncos get a deal with Dre'Mont, and they get him for $15 million a year. Not a deal, but more so fair market value.
It's a deal.
At $15 million a year. Then you're taking away a huge opportunity that you have for signing other guys, because right now the Broncos have about $12 million in cap space. I think it's the 12th most in the NFL. They can, with a couple of cuts, they can get up to like $45 million in cap space. If you go and give $15 million to Dre'Mont, then you're looking at $30 million. Then how many great players are you going to be able to go and get while also filling out your roster? So I don't just want to think about it of, okay, would you like Dre'Mont? Would you like De'Ron Payne? Would you like another defensive player? You got maybe 3-4 offensive lineman spots to fill here. I would much rather use this money not on Dre'Mont, but on the offensive side of the ball, because that's where this team's going to be built moving forward.
You know how I always say that no one thinks a player is better than the fans of the team they play for?
100%.
I think I'm not alone in that I have completely flipped this offseason. I would take a player on the Broncos and swap them for a comparable player on any other team, except for like PS2.
Right.
Because I'm just like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
It just needs to change. As many things as possible need to change.
Yep.
You can lose Cortland Sutton and get Michael Thomas, sure. You know what I mean? Like, that's just one example that's coming to my mind, but I'm like completely past that. Every one of these guys have too many losses on their resume where they were maybe not the problem, but also not the solution. That I'm just like, Dre'Mont Jones or De'Ron Payne, give me De'Ron Payne. Pay him more money. I don't care. I just want new blood in the building.
And that's why, like, I feel bad for these guys because they don't deserve it. Like, I mean, they're 1/11th or whatever of whatever happens out there. But that's why nobody wants to give market value to guys who are just here, because when you win 5 games, everybody wants turnover. And it's like Dalton Risner. If you could snag Dalton Risner for $8-9 million a year and they were coming off an 11-12 win season, you'd say, yeah, I mean, that's a good value for an offensive lineman. But right now you just say, yeah, we're not too attached to anybody because it hasn't worked. And it's not their fault. Like, you would love to see Dalton have the chance to be like a fan favorite, and he'll continue to be a fan favorite if he comes back, but it just, that's not how things play out when you lose.
Also, if his name was Ralton Deisner and he played for, the Jags last year and he was a free agent, we'd be like, maybe the Broncos should go get him. He can improve the offensive line.
It's true. And one of the things that the Broncos have not done, despite a terrible streak these past few years, they've never blown it up. Now, the Broncos aren't going to come here and trade Pat Surtain, Justin Simmons, all of their good players. They're not going to truly blow it up. But every single year, it's been like, oh, we're just going to revamp instead of completely renovate this team. And they bring in a new quarterback. And, well, that doesn't work. But we're still going to keep the defense together. We're still going to keep all these things together. And it just hasn't worked. So, Ryan, I'm right there with you. Let's make significant shakeup. Doesn't have to be a total rebuild where you're trading Pat Surtain and your best players, but let's shake things up. And you know what? Who can do that? Someone with a 5-year deal who's going to come in and start fresh with Sean Payton. He has time to do this, to do these things, and they're not going to bottom out this year, but it's just making some big moves and changing the culture.
Yeah, and I think Sean Payton is probably going to go out and get as many of his guys as he can.
I mean, Marcus Davenport sitting right out there.
They traded up for him.
Yeah,
in the first round.
And
first-round picks.
ESPN said that Draymond's going to get the 16th most money. Marcus Davenport's 20th. So if you could save a couple $1,000,000, bring in Marcus Davenport, like, that just makes sense. And that's why I do think that Draymond's probably done.
I think so too. And now a big thing with this is Dre'Mont Jones is not going to, if they do franchise tag him, it's not going to be right now because they don't want him for $19.7 million. It would be if they're so desperate for him and the window to end the franchise tag is March 7th. If they get to March 6th, and they're realizing we're not going to be able to come to a long-term deal with him, but we cannot let him leave, that's when they would place the franchise tag on him. The tough thing with that is then you're either paying him $20 million for this year than letting him walk, or you're going to be negotiating with him for a long-term deal where he already knows he has $20 million this year. So he's not going to say, okay, fine, I'll take 2 years, $30 million. He's going to say, no, you're already guaranteeing me $20 million this year, so let's start with the deal being $20 million a year. So it's just, that's why I don't see this happening.
And with that money,
go ahead.
You could just go get Tremaine Edmonds and Levante David if you just decide you're not bringing back Singleton and you cut Josie.
Offensive line.
Oh, totally. And you could go offense too, but if you think about what that does for the defense.
Tremaine Edmonds still only like 22?
He's really so young. But get, like, they paid Matt Milano, and so they're stuck. Like, he's almost assuredly gone. And he's 18th in terms of value. So again, you'd save money. You have Levante David there, who's even further down the list. And, like, there's just so many different things you could do that putting all your money to keep this defense together doesn't make any sense at all.
really the only time it makes sense to franchise tag a guy is one, if the franchise tag is less than you would have to pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And two, if you're in a Super Bowl window and you're just saying like, let's extend this thing one more year and take a shot at winning, you know, with this group.
And neither of those is the case with Dre'Mont. So none of us would do that. What is the contract you would sign up for with being semi-realistic about what Dre'Mont would expect?
Tremaine Edmonds is 24.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
He's getting his second contract at a younger age than Garrett Bowles got drafted.
That is wild.
That is pretty crazy.
That's wild. So what's the contract that you would give Dre'Mont Jones that he would realistically?
I would give him 2 offers. One is like 3 years, $34 million, mostly guaranteed. Or I'd give him the 1 year, $14.5 million. I think those would be my 2 op. Maybe I could bump that up to like 15 and I don't think I'd go 15.
Yeah, Henry, I'm kind of right there with you, but the issue with both of those is those aren't realistic. I don't think that Dre'Mont's accepting 1 year, $15 million, because I think he knows if he hits the open market, he's going to get 4 years, $15 million. And the $3 million, I agree. I'd pay him 11, maybe 12, but I'm just uncomfortable taking away those assets from the offensive side, and I just don't think he's going to accept $12 million.
Well,
Probably
and
not.
The other thing here is the Broncos missed their window to get a deal on him because, in my opinion, when you sign a deal and take a hometown discount, the only reason I would ever advise a player to do that is to get the deal before you get hurt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if they went to him at the bye week this year and offered him that deal, it's like, hey, dude, you got 8 more games. That's 8 chances to have a season-ending injury where you're not getting any money. Take $2 million less a year to lock in and secure the bag.
Yep.
You know, I'll touch wood because anything can happen. But now you don't have to play any games between now and when you could get that big contract. So the risk is so much lower that if I'm him, I'm like, why would I take this deal now? I can just wait a month and see what everyone else wants to pay me.
Yep.
And have competition for me.
Yep.
Exactly. So we all agree that the franchise tag will not be used on Dre'Mont Jones, shouldn't be used, and we don't think it will as well. Anyone else on the team that the Broncos should consider franchise tagging? Got Alex Singleton. You've got Latavius Murray. You've got Dalton Risner, probably the next guy on this list.
Yeah.
And I think it boils down to no.
No.
Yeah.
One more thing real quick. There have been a lot of people saying tag and trade. Nobody wants to trade for Dre'Mont on a $20 million contract for 1 year. Like that's just not a positive value. Like you would trade for a positive value, and that's a negative value.
That would be perfect for the Broncos,
Oh, it would.
in all honesty. But no team is going to then also give up premium draft picks for him and then also sign on to, because like we just said, if not just the Broncos, but any other team gets Dre'Mont on the $19.7 million franchise tag, they know that's where the starting point is for his contract.
The only thing I would say is I feel like Dre'Mont is just going to take whatever the biggest deal is. He's not going to be like, oh, I want to play here. I want to compete for Super Bowls, that sort of thing. So if that's not the case, there could be a chance that, let's say the Lions really want him. They call the Broncos and say, hey, look, we don't think he's going to sign with us in free agency, but if you tag him, we'll give you a 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, I think maybe you get like a 7th. I think there's like a real chance that teams say like, no, we don't want to give you a draft pick to pay $20 million to Dre'Mont Jones.
Yeah.
Like he's just not worth that. Because again, I mean, there's so many good defenders out there. Why wouldn't you just give that $20 million, which is an insane amount of money, to somebody else who can probably help your defense more?
2 or 3
and you don't have to
more.
give up exactly. So I don't think tag and trade is viable.
That's ideal, but it's just not realistic to
It'd be
happen.
ideal to tag and trade Dalton Risner or Alex Singleton.
If you were to tag Dalton Risner, guess how much it would cost you?
15.
$18.2 million, because
Quentin Nelson.
that includes offensive tackles.
Oh.
It's just one number for offensive linemen.
What are we doing?
Especially because on the defensive line, they separate defensive tackle and defensive end.
That makes no sense because it takes me back to the Jimmy Graham thing.
Right.
Remember when Jimmy Graham like changed his Twitter bio to like wide receiver for the Saints or something?
Yeah.
You know, these guys, like, if you're gonna do it to offensive linemen, you should also do it to edge.
Yep.
Should just be one.
Yep.
And pass catcher should just be the other.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. Wide receiver, and the reason he did this, wide receiver, $19.7 million, so the same as defensive end. Tight end, $11 million. $8 million.
Yeah.
I would change my bio for $8 million difference.
Totally.
I would literally put anything in my bio for $8 million. And that's unfair. He was even more valuable than a receiver at that time.
That's true.
Like, he was like the ultimate mismatch nightmare in the entire league.
Yep. Yep. I completely agree. So, no, you're not going to pay Dalton Risner $18 million.
No.
You're not going to pay Alex Singleton, as much as we love him, $21 million to be your inside linebacker. So, the Broncos, especially under John Elway, were used to franchise tagging people, but not going to happen this year.
They had a lot of good players. Like, you have Von Miller, you got to tag Von Miller. Like, it's just how those things work. Demaryius Thomas, yeah. But, I mean, just looking at the guards, that same ESPN list ranking guys by value, Dalton Risner, they have 45th, and that was number 4 among guards.
Yeah.
He was 43rd from Pro Football Focus, but the guys in front of him, 35, 40, 41. So he is pretty close to that top tier of guard out there. So the idea that you're going to not bring back Dalton Risner and just find an automatic upgrade, I would say if you don't bring back Dalton Risner, I'd be willing to bet you get worse at that position.
And that's the tough thing about Dalton Risner is especially he can get $10+ million on the open market. Is he willing to take $2 million pay cut to stay with his hometown team, $8 million a year? Even then, $8 million is still a lot. But if you don't pay that, like you said, Henry, not only is it going to be hard to upgrade that position, but then you might have 4 offensive line spots that you need to upgrade. Or then you're guaranteeing yourself 3.
This is random, but did you guys notice that the Broncos' 2 picks in the 3rd round are back-to-back?
Yeah.
That is going to be so weird from a coverage standpoint.
Little Dalton Risner, Drew Lock sort of situation.
Yes, but even then we weren't doing live pods.
It's true.
So, because I remember us sitting there like in the Broncos draft room.
Yep.
And, we get the first one, we're like sending out tweets, and then the second one comes in, and it was Dalton Risner first, Drew Lock second.
Yep.
And, obviously Drew Lock stole the show from Risner.
Yep.
But this one is going to be so weird. We're going to be live. We'll have like 2 minutes to talk about the first guy before the next guy comes in.
My guess is something will happen. They'll be moving around.
All right.
They won't be back to back.
I'd love that.
It will be fun, though. Like, that first day is just going to suck because it won't have anything to do with it. But that second day, at least that second round, we'll all have a few guys that we like. And just, like, seeing who drops and seeing who drops. And with 2 picks there, it's a decent chance that they take one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A second year where they'll just be watching Sean Payton highlights.
I was going to say, no more Russell Wilson highlights.
No. I think he moved on to Sean highlights.
That could be sick.
I know.
The cliff, are we just going to be watching him sit in a house?
No, you're watching him like successfully run the fullback option.
He's the fullback?
No.
That would be great.
Just him calling it in 4th and short in a huge situation and converting it.
What odds could you get of Sean Payton being in a play this year?
Being on the field?
Being on the field.
They would never give odds on something that can't happen.
Zach, I will give you any odds you want. You got to bet at least $10.
$10 billion to 1.
Minimum $10 bet.
Minimum $10 bet.
Yep.
You might be able to find it over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Probably not that one.
What movie is it where he says, if you can get 10,000 to 1 odds on anything, you
The
take
Office.
it?
It's the Office.
Kevin.
You take it immediately
Kevin,
every time.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a really good transition to our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook because, Ryan, I was looking over this past week for good value Super Bowl odds because last year the Eagles were plus 2,200 to win it before the season started. That's great value. Great value.
I wonder what the buyout was before the game.
And that's where I'm going with this one. Is not necessarily, I don't think that the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl.
Good call.
But
Safe choice.
plus 8,000. I think they have the 3rd worst odds. I think when you have a quarterback that has been as dynamic and showed as much flash as Justin Fields has, when they have the 1st overall pick in the draft, they're going to get some more capital, get a really good player wherever they end up drafting to, and they have like over $100 million in cap space where they're going to be able to add. I just think that's bad value, or I think it's too good a value to sprinkle. I'm not putting a lot on it. Or if you want to get even a little more conservative because you think that the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Bills, maybe the Broncos, the Chargers are just so good in the AFC that they're not going to be able to win the Super Bowl, 4,000 to win the NFC. I think at some point in the season, the buyout is going to be worth it on the Bears.
Someone just clip this and send it to CHGO. They'll be so happy seeing someone somewhere else say this. I don't even think they would say it.
I don't think they would either.
I don't hate your line of thinking, to be honest.
Thank you.
Especially because the NFC is a pile of garbage.
Yep.
Just a giant pile of garbage. The Eagles will probably regress a little bit. And other than that, like, who's the cream of the crop in the NFC?
No idea.
Aaron Rodgers.
49ers, if he... And Aaron Rodgers may be in
I know, that's
New
what I was
York.
going to say.
Yeah.
Or he may be in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's very true. AFC.
Vikings might be a good bet. Because
But,
they'll
like,
just be...
They're the Vikings.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They're
but-
the team. They were the opposite of the Broncos. They won like every game that
Yeah.
they shouldn't have won, and the Broncos lost every game that they maybe could have won.
Yep.
They'll just be so steady. Which is a path to 12 wins next year in the NFC, as it stands now.
But then when it comes to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, that's
like,
true. I mean, they're screwed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean...
I want to see the Bears' schedule to see if, like, maybe they can get off to a
fair.
hot start and, like, build some
Right.
unearned momentum.
Yep.
And just like confidence and, you know, whatever. But I don't hate it. That's not happening, but I see your thought process. The only thing I will tell you is betting on buyouts is a bad idea.
That's true.
In anything but live betting actual games. Because, like, even like my Nikola Jokic MVP buyout isn't being offered right now.
Yep.
Wow.
And he's at, I got it at like
guaranteed.
plus 900 and he's at minus 250.
insane.
Yep.
Insane.
Same thing with my Nuggets to win the Western or to get the number 1 seed
Yep.
in the Western Conference bet doesn't have a buyout.
Wow.
And that's minus 2,500.
That's
so
pretty good.
The only one for some odd reason that does is my Nuggets to win the championship. So this is good for you.
Yep.
Which I got at some like crazy thing and now it's a lot less. And
Okay.
like, but they're only offering me like a 10% win on my
Right.
investment.
Right. And that's why you kind of go for the long shot odds, which I'm going to do. And when DraftKings has NFC North, I'm going to put some on the Bears as well to win that because I guarantee you they're going to have the worst odds. But you can get all of this over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up to get all the offers. That's promo code DNVR DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings or see show notes for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Void in Ohio.
And if somebody has been pressuring you into making terrible betting decisions, then call Baxton Shanker because they will save you from Zach's whatever that was.
Maybe only if you got bad bets and then you put it in with a bookie instead of doing it at a great place like DraftKings. And then you couldn't pay it, and then the bookie came after your kneecaps.
Oh,
I
boy.
guess that's true. You probably couldn't just go straight after Zach. Not that we would want you to anyway. But yeah, so I mean, if you get hurt, you get in a car accident, motorcycle accident, the pedestrians, which I don't know, everybody always assumes it's like, oh, you're walking, you get hit by a car. What if you're driving a car and a pedestrian hits you and dents your car? You know, so really either side of any of these things, as long as you weren't at fault, you can call Baxton Shanker and they will give you a free consultation. If they take your case, they will go throughout the entire process without charging you a single dollar until they win your case. And if they win your case, then they get their cut of the winnings. They've won over $1 billion for their clients. They've been in Colorado for more than 25 years. They have 30 lawyers on staff. They serve the entire state with offices in Denver, Aurora, Inglewood, and Fort Collins. Like I said, Baxton Shanker helps with all kinds of injury cases where you weren't at fault. Car accidents, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrians, trucks. We can even help if you're injured at work. Call us at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Baxton Shanker wins.
Henry?
Yeah.
What is the top speed you think a car could be moving that you could run into it and dent it?
The top speed it could be moving?
Yeah. Because, like, if a car's going 50 and you try to run into the side of it, I don't think you're denting it. You're just going to, like,
from the
roll
side.
off the side.
I don't think the side...
Oh, you're
I think
going
the speed
front?
doesn't matter. I think all that matters is the force that
No,
you
because
hit
think
that
about it.
with.
It would be, like, more of a glancing blow.
But it would still... It would. I don't think it would matter. I really don't think it would
We need
matter.
a physician in
Okay,
here.
so-
No,
Like
not a physician.
Yeah.
We need to try this.
What would that
We're going to
be?
need a position after that.
Only if
what
we
I
do an
meant, of
experiment.
course.
Only if we do an
We
experiment.
kind of need to try
A
this
person
right
who
now,
knows
too.
physics should be a physician.
It should. What are they? Why can't I think of it? It's a tough one.
Physics scientist.
physiologist.
A scientist of physics.
I think I might have gotten it.
See, because I think
physiologist.
No,
Yeah.
it's a Mythbuster. That's all you need.
We do need a Mythbuster.
And you're good to go.
wonder what
Who
happened
was the
to them.
sports science guy?
Oh, John Brankus.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't think this counts
He
as a
might be able to
sport.
Do it.
50% chance he's canceled. I don't know why. It just feels
Yeah.
feels right.
Haven't heard
of
from
his
him in a
name
while.
from a while, so probably.
Because I think the thing is, all that matters is the momentum this way. I think it's one of those things where it's like you can even throw all of that other stuff out. And so if it was just like a flat space or something, it'd just be fine. The tough part is that
Physicist.
like
That's what someone
you
else
have like
That's
Well, that's what
probably
everyone
it.
that
would
makes
say.
way more
Yeah.
sense. You'd have like a mirror that sticks out, like a door handle. And so if you just happen to hit something that juts out a little bit, all of a sudden that 50 miles per hour, that would destroy horizontally whatever there is there.
Okay,
Apparently,
first
we've
of
got
all,
a lot of scientists in
Yeah.
here. Like, we've got more answers on
I
this
think
than
this
like
is-
any
this is-
Broncos question we've ever asked.
I was going to say, everyone came through with that.
Also,
Wow.
first of all, we need a psychologist to like whoever thought about this question,
Right.
kind of go into a
That's
deep
true.
dive.
Wow.
Then we can start going a little bit deeper into the.
And then a
Very
physician.
true. Yeah.
I got hit by a deer
So-
once.
Answer the question.
I think you have to run. I don't. I
want
think
you to
it'd be
try this on
15.
my car. I'm willing to allow
Because
it.
I'm trying to think. I think my top speed is right around 16 miles an hour. I don't think I could hit that anymore. But I think that if I were running that fast, I would dent a car. So I'll say like 15 miles per hour.
Well,
a
what do
person
you-
needs to run.
The question is,
The
what are you
car.
hitting it with? You going head on, like
gotta
skull?
be
I was
shoulder.
thinking shoulder,
Shoulder?
just because
Okay. Yeah.
it could take it or has the best chance.
Your head, I think, would do more damage.
It
to
certainly
you and
would.
the car.
Well, especially if you think about windows, because that's where like if you just have like the
Don't
point
hit
of
the
your
window.
elbow into a window,
Don't hit the window.
those are tough to break. But if you
like-
concentrate on one point,
That's like death. Right
well,
there.
I mean, we shouldn't do any of these things.
That's true. Probably shouldn't.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even know how we got
That's why they
here.
say that.
Also, last point of business. Yeah, who is our special guest in the studio?
That is Hank's #1 fan, Chiefs super fan. My
no.
This is my little brother Francisco.
Hi, Francisco.
He's waiting for the show to end, so you can tell Hank how much he also loves the Chiefs.
I don't like the Chiefs. I'm
Why
gonna
you
break
gotta
his
put him on
heart.
blast like that.
I'm gonna break his heart.
Yo, he's
poor
happy,
guy.
dude. He's walking. He went to the parade. He went to the playoffs. Like he got to do all those things this time around. Like,
If I was at that
He
parade, I
probably
would
saw
have
Henry
committed a
there.
crime. No,
yeah,
I'd be-
because you would have been so drunk and happy, you would have gone.
no,
Oh,
because I was
God.
angry. Because I was angry. I would break something. Not fire truck, because those are good people.
Yeah, you can't
but
do that.
probably one of the Chiefs.
Something else that's making
That would've been worth it.
Hank really angry is that we only have 57 likes right now.
That
What?
does
Help
make
us
me
out.
angry.
I know we got a lot more people watching. We can see how many people are watching. We know it's a lot more than that. So please hit us with a thumbs up. Let's get to 100
We have
before this show is
Tom
over.
Jackson likes. We need to get to a point where we can't think of a Broncos player with that number.
Oh, I
Whoa.
like it, which would be
End of the
100.
100.
Yes,
Yeah. All right, let's talk to the people, shall we? When they hit us with a thumbs up, let's talk to the people.
All right, fair enough.
And we got a super chat coming in from our friend Steven Sholey. Says, what's to stop the Broncos from just signing players to contracts using massive signing bonuses and very low yearly salaries?
Well, the signing bonuses still have an impact on your cap. And the other thing is, if you set up those contracts that way, it's going to make it harder and harder and harder for you to move on from those players ever. So there's always a little trick in there that could screw you up, but then you can always just restructure later. Like I said, there really is nothing stopping them from doing this other than, in a sense, the bill eventually comes due unless you have some incredible ways of restructuring and pay cuts and all these things.
Maybe they will do it because no one has done it more in the past than Sean Payton, the New Orleans Saints. And what are we seeing right now? We're seeing that bill come due, but how long did they push it off? I mean, so many years, especially at the end of the Drew Brees run. It's like, the Saints are in a really tough cap position. I don't know if they're going to be able to. Oh, they magically did it. And they just kept pushing it off. And that's maybe one of the reasons why Sean Payton said, I'm going to get out of here right now, especially no Drew Brees, an awful cap situation. So they
Hey,
could
they got
do
a first
that.
round pick out of it.
They did.
Yep.
So they could do that. And eventually, like Ryan said, eventually it'll come due. But Sean Payton's not going to be here forever. He may say, George, let's get out of here in 10 years. But until then, let's make this a really good place to be.
And one of the reasons that teams always wind up having more usable cap space than it feels like they have. Like you look at the $12 million and say like, okay, you got half of a good player because you got payer draft picks. There's like a lot of those things where only like the top 51 salaries count and that sort of stuff. But typically when you sign a free agent, the first year, the salary is really low because they try to balance it cash wise. So if it's like a $20 million contract over 3 years, then that makes the numbers kind of tough. So that was dumb. But the $10 million you would spread out over the course of all of it because that's a signing bonus. And then the other $10 million in salaries, like they get paid that first 10, so they get paid the second 10. So that was a horrible explanation. But realistically, if you sign somebody to a deal, you're paying about a third of that amount in cap hit the first year. And that's why, like this year, Randy Gregory's cap hit goes up and DJ Jones's cap hit goes up. And this year, they sign the free agent and those don't cost as much as you think. Then those kick in next year as you're starting to move on from potentially Randy Gregory. So every team does quite a bit of that on every contract.
Exactly.
All right.
At least in year one.
We got some comments coming in on the website. First one is coming in from Nash Bronco. Says, hi, fellas. How did you guys gloss over the fact that former Broncos player Paxton, the Pirate Lynch, and Cody Know the Play Latimer linked up for an XFL touchdown this weekend? Never mind that Paxton threw a pick six and was benched later in that same game. Disregard that entirely. Should the Broncos bring back Paxi Lynchy to pair with Vance Joseph?
No.
I don't even want to.
And that is exactly why we didn't talk about it. It's like I have no thoughts, no feelings, nothing about it.
Yeah, there was a good reason why we glossed over it. We don't want to be.
Depressing.
Yeah. Very depressing. A first and a second round pick for the Broncos. That's what we're talking about with Paxton Lynch and Cody Latimer.
And not that long ago. What was it? 2014 for Cody Latimer?
Yeah.
And Paxton Lynch was 2016.
Yep.
So, like, if those were good draft picks, they would still be playing for the Broncos.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I just don't really care about other football leagues.
I can't.
Yeah.
I want to. I just can't.
I feel like there should have been a little gap because going from the Super Bowl, the greatest game, to the very next week, it's these games. Give people some time to crave football again.
I think that's right.
And then it's easier to start with bad games.
So there's people who are really interested in this point after touchdown thing.
Yeah.
There's no way. You cannot do this. Like, it changes the game so much. All of a sudden, being down 9 isn't a 2-score game.
Unless you're down 9, then you really hope it's a 1-score game.
What I'm saying is that's so dumb.
It is dumb. It's the same thing when they have like the 4th and 15 instead of the.
I like that.
I hate it because the thing is like it makes comebacks more likely, but that's why people hate the NBA. The people who do hate the NBA because you can just turn it on at the start of the 4th quarter and that's all that matters. Like if a 2-score lead means nothing, then what was the point of even watching the first 3 quarters?
Imagine being down 18 points. You're getting blown out. 2-score game, and all you need to do is score a touchdown, convert a 4th and 15, and score another touchdown, and you're tied.
It's just dumb.
I agree with you about those extra points. I don't like them, but I do like a 4th and 15 more than an onside kick.
But I don't know. People
the
complain.
Onside kick seems almost perfect. Like
exactly.
It's really hard to get. When you get it, it's miraculous, and it's really exciting.
I do think that they went too far changing the alignments. Like, I think you should be able to scheme your way into getting like a 10% chance of having it happen, but it should be no more than that.
What is the percent? And I hate giving these guys credit. Like, what is the percentage that like Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert are converting 3rd and 15s?
35, 50.
It's like way too high.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, if you're one of those teams, you're just saying like, we actually can just go for this every single time.
Well, and then you play a team with a good offense, and you're like, well, what's the point in even trying to kick it? Give them the 330 yards and do it every time.
Don't be sore losers. Be a good offense then.
No, all it's doing is creating more of an imbalance towards teams with good quarterbacks.
Well, then get a good quarterback.
And
everyone's trying to do that already.
And it's making
like
games
10
closer.
of them in the world.
It's making games closer, which I think that's not something you need.
Absolutely.
Like, you need the first quarter to matter.
Already really like almost always good games.
Exactly.
Man, I just think it would make even closer games, and maybe for your team it would come and bite you, but also it should balance out where you're also going to. But then it makes that Monday night game, really those Thursday night games, more interesting at the end. I would rather have a game be put in the quarterback's hands, in the offense's hands, and the defense's hands. The defense can stop it, than I would having it be an onside kick team. And also, it's 4th and 15. We're not asking for 4th and 2.
But 4th and 15, like Mahomes is getting that at least 1 and 3, probably more.
Yeah.
And I should have used a different example. Sorry.
No,
F the Chiefs.
That's the one that like comes to mind because even when
Wonder
you're in
why.
3rd and 15 against him, you're like,
he's gonna get it. Exactly.
You know?
And, yeah. And
But again,
again,
let's have this conversation. I wish it wasn't the Chiefs that we were having this I wish it was the Carolina Panthers who had Mahomes, and it's like, oh well, we probably wouldn't be thinking of that comes up right away because the Broncos. You mentioned Mahomes and Herbert; they have to play them 4 times a year. Of course, the Broncos don't want to go up against those.
But the point is, it's just too easy to do.
Yeah.
Like, it should be a 4 or 5% chance that you're able to get that ball back. Otherwise, the first quarter is meaningless. The second quarter is meaningless.
It's not meaningless.
here's
It
the
would
other
be. It'd be
thing.
just like an NBA game where nobody wants to watch until the 4th quarter when you're just like, oh, what's going to happen? Because it's so easy to get back into it. There's no way that you could clinch a win in the 3rd quarter, 2nd
All right,
quarter,
I
like
have
you should be able to.
I have a proposal for you. You might not like it, but this is something that I absolutely love about the college game that if we're trying to increase comebacks, I would bring. And you don't have to do it for the whole game because that really draws things out. Last 2 minutes of the game, if you get a first down, the clock stops until the chains are set.
yeah, I love it.
That'd be good.
But no, that's the exact same thing, Henry. It makes it easier for a comeback. So I don't know how you can argue against one but have the other in there.
But it's
But that's different. That's just stopping the clock.
right. It's
like
just
it's
giving
not,
you like
That's a
if you have
massive
50
advantage. You're helping the offense a ton. That's
Totally.
going to help Patrick Mahomes so much. I just don't see how you could be making an argument for one of them because you're saying it helps Patrick Mahomes,
because-
but not the other one because you're saying it helps Patrick
'Cause it
Mahomes.
only
because
gives
it
you-
doesn't. It's not helping Patrick Mahomes. It's the problem.
It's
fundamentally.
It really is helping Patrick Mahomes.
Oh no, it is helping him, but that's not the problem. That's not the issue I have. The issue I have is that it just fundamentally changes the game.
And it
like
makes
the
it too
idea that you
easy.
can just get the ball back to back so much easier.
That fundamentally
Like that just
changes the game too.
No,
Instead
not
of,
fundamentally.
Instead of there being
Not
a minute
fundamentally.
12 left, then there's actually way more time left.
But the point is, that's one possession at a time.
Exactly.
And if you're down 2 scores, you still have to get an onside kick, which is incredibly unlikely.
And I would just rather have it be more of a football play than an onside kick. Here's I think maybe we can meet more in the middle. 4th and 25. I'm not saying the 15's perfect. You can make it 4th. You can make it longer. I would just rather have it be that sort of play because when the onside when the kick unit goes on the field, if that's your team, you're just like, well, this sucks.
because
like,
you should. Because you put yourself in that situation. Like that
Yeah.
is what it should feel like. It makes comeback should not be any easier.
I just want it to be more of a real football play with the players that are on the field 99% of the
But
game.
to me, that doesn't feel like real
Do you want
football.
to take extra points out too? And just have those be 1 yard, 1 point, 5 yards, 2 point?
No, because I think they changed it to where it's what, an 88% success rate now instead of the 90.
I'm just saying
that
it's
it was or
not a
something.
football play and it's worth a point.
No,
Special teams
kicks are.
make
Kicks
special
are.
teams more important.
How often do field goals happen in a game,
Quite often.
6 or 7 a game, 8 a game.
including extra points and stuff? 10-ish,
10?
8
Yeah.
to 10. How many times do onside kicks happen in a game?
Less
Every
than
other
one.
game.
Exactly. That's why one is 10, 20, 30 more times likely. A field goal is 30 more times, 20, 30 more times likely to happen in a game than an onside kick. So they're not the same. They're not equivalent football
But it's
plays.
just, I'm with Henry on this one. It should be really, really hard to get the ball back after you just had it.
And
Let
it should be your kick team that decides that. Like that is how the game has been structured for forever. I don't think it's the same reason I don't think you just take kickoffs out of the game. Like I feel like that's just wrong. Like there's a way the game is played.
I would support maybe to think about this. You can do an onside kick or throw a Hail Mary from the 50-yard line.
But again, that just feels gimmicky. Like
It
it,
is,
feels
it
wrong.
is,
like
it
that's
is.
not football.
It is gimmicky.
Well, they also they've
That's not
changed a
true.
lot of things
It's a
in
weird
football. Football has not stayed
But
the
what's-
exact same game.
I know,
Just
but
so
they,
you know,
they
like
throw
you're
the
saying like we can't change anything
But there
about
was-
this game. They've done it forever. No, they've
there's-
changed a lot of
they
things.
changed
about
the
game.
forward pass in the 60s. What else have they changed? That would have been this big.
Field goal moving back for what 15 yards.
That's not-
That's not 10% this
It's not
big.
changing a way you can get the ball back.
Yeah, it's not making it so it's possible to get the ball 4 times in a row if you want.
It's that was a significant change. It changed
Yeah.
the game 10%.
It's not nearly on
all
this
I'm
level,
saying is
though.
if you make it 4th and 15, there are several teams in the league who should and probably would just go for it every time.
every single time.
You can only do it in the fourth quarter, by the way.
But I still,
there you
I
go.
still don't like.
Thank
I
you,
don't know.
Yahir.
I don't like that.
Let's go. Let us know in the comment section
Yeah.
what you guys think, because obviously pretty
That's-
controversial here.
But that's,
Like when you stop innovating, that's when the game starts becoming stale. So you gotta innovate before it becomes stale.
but that's like me
Football
saying.
doesn't need any
That's me
innovation.
saying like, oh, I think soccer's stale. They need to make the goal 3 times bigger.
Right.
Like I need more goals. Like that's just a fundamental change.
What
Yes,
you
it
just-
is.
No, that's
it's very
saying
similar.
no. That's like saying let's make the end zones 3 times.
That doesn't help,
That is
though.
not the same. Making the end zones 3 times bigger wouldn't help the offense.
Wouldn't make
The
it
only
that
thing
much.
wrong with football is
You're
that
kidding me.
Not that much.
It would. There would be 3 times more ground to cover for a defense. You don't think that would make it that much
I mean,
more difficult?
I don't care enough to argue about it.
it would definitely change things. The point is, what's wrong with football
Exactly. I don't think.
other than the refs rigging the games?
What is it? 40% of games are 1-score games, or were last year.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great amount.
Make it so the end of games is even more competitive,
but again-
and that you can't just give up and that you're still fighting for it even if you're up 16 points. And let's not make it seem like every team's going to just be able to easily come back from 16 points down with 2 minutes left. It's still going to be a very tough feat where you're going to have to
But
get
that
a touchdown,
game should be over.
a 2-point conversion, an onside kick. I don't think it.
You owe
I
it.
like what
You
the
owe it to the
XFL says.
players. You owe it to the coaches for that
Don't
game to be
owe
over when you build a
shit
lead
to
like
anyone.
that.
You've got
do.
a defense. You've got a defense out there.
You do.
Got a defense
you
out
owe
there
it to the
stop
game
them.
to be that interesting.
owe it to the
You do
game. Oh
because
my
again, like
gosh.
who wants
It's-
the
I don't know
first
if
quarter
you
to
owe
suck?
it, but the point is the team up 16 with 2 minutes left.
They should feel like they're gonna win.
Has earned the right to be to take a miracle
It's-
to beat
You
them.
know
It's-
what?
it's a lot like
and
the
it
all-
still would take a miracle. With 2 minutes left, down 16,
my
you have to
goodness.
drive down, get a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, convert a 4th and 15, which is not a gimme, then go down the field, get a touchdown, get a 2. That is
But
a
why
miracle
should it be
putting all of
easier?
those 2 things together.
How
Why should it
about
be
you just
easier?
say every point's worth double in the fourth quarter? Comebacks.
Because that's totally different.
No, it's the same
You are
thing.
too. You guys are making a fundamental change.
It is.
No,
There's
that's-
that would be
a-
the biggest
that's a
change in
small-
football in 60 years.
That's a small change.
No, it is not. That's the biggest change in
That's
football in
not a
60
There's
freaking
never
years.
been a way to
Change.
get the ball back without having to kick it.
This
Yes,
is
that is
just
what currently is the biggest change in football in the last 60 years
what you
since
guys
the Super Bowl.
What you guys want is just to keep it the same.
Yes,
to
I
keep
love
it
football.
The same, and
That's exactly it.
And not. This would be way more entertaining. And again, you still have an opportunity to win the game. It's not like you're pulling your defense off the field and saying, "Can you guys score without a defense on the field?"
Oh, but that's not how that works. That's no.
We've got another comment. I want to see what the
Okay.
comment section has to say. Kind of back and forth. The Count comes in, says, re-listen to another gem from the London pod, treasure trove. Not sure what aged the best. Zach's beautiful rendition of the U.S. state and mesmerizing song, RK's misguided ideas about the London Bridge, or Hank's visceral reaction to the combining of the words channel and tunnel into a cutesy name for a
Tunnel.
way to travel underwater from England to France. All of them have matriculated through time like a fine wine. My gents, bravo. Love, the Count. The Count is going back through our London pods and is giving us the glory days.
We should just go to
What a
London
time
again
to
for
be
fun.
alive. I really want to. So my connection at Leeds hit me up. Did I already talk about this on this show?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. My connection at Leeds hit me up and was like, "Hey, I'll be in Leeds for all of March if you're planning on coming out."
Oh.
And I saw like the week before my birthday, they play at Chelsea, which would be a really cool game to go. And then the week of my birthday, they play at home. Got to go back to Ellen Road. But yeah,
You
It's-
going?
I think it's a pipe dream.
You going?
I
Probably.
don't think so.
We're a month away.
But if you guys go,
Weeks
then I
away.
can definitely go because we can just do the pod.
Wow.
Wow, another Europe trip.
Just a new set of London pods.
How do we sell
Wow.
it? Free agency in London?
Yeah.
Recruiting Menelik Watson.
Oh,
I think you're more
boy.
likely to do a Buffs show than a Broncos show in London.
That is
That's
true.
probably
2 buffs
true.
from London. Could be 3.
There you go. And how many Broncos from London?
0.
0. Yeah.
Wait. 0.
It's you and Jake. Buffs
All right.
pod.
Good idea.
Buffs take over
We're
London.
scouting.
I loved it.
Is that the last we got?
That's the last we got.
I
All
wanna
she
go back to
wrote.
London so badly.
Ooh, we did get invited to play in a golf tournament in Montana.
Yes.
Beginning of May.
I said if you're in, I'm in.
Cool.
Wow.
I'll say we're in. Hey, Zach.
Is this like a
we need
big? Is this a big golf? Like,
No.
It's not big.
No, okay,
I think there
okay.
might be some money on the line.
but it's a good point. Dang.
Yeah.
I also
Here,
got-
just hitting you low.
I got invited to be a celebrity guest at a golf
Wow.
tournament. And I was like, I saw the list, and they were like, if you pay a certain amount of money, like, you get a celebrity guest in your foursome. And I just, like, responded to the guy. I'm like, I'm in, but I just feel like whoever gets me is going to be really disappointed. Like, maybe don't make them pay the extra thing to play with me.
So you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Colorado?
Yeah, it is in Colorado.
Wow. Celebrity RK.
I guess so.
The question is, in what way are they viewing you as celebrity? For the Buffs? For the Broncos? For the shows? For
know.
the reporting? For
I mean, hopefully there's like a big group of DNVR fans who are excited to have me.
That'd be
And then I
perfect.
feel like compared to some of the other celebrities, I have to put that in air quotes since I'm in it. I'm probably one of the better golfers.
That's true.
So that's
Yes.
that's an advantage.
That's very true.
Yeah. If you played well, they wouldn't be too upset.
Right.
I'm just lucky to be
They're
joined
like, we-
by a celebrity on this show.
They're like, we tossed in an extra 250 for this guy. And I shoot like 95. All right. I think that's all we got.
That's it.
That is it. This was fun. Good to be back.
Give us likes.
Hit us with some likes. We still didn't get 100. What's
No.
going on?
We have Dwayne
Dang.
Carswell.
I was thinking Demarius
We can't end this.
Thomas.
Oh, I'm at 89 on
Oh, okay.
the website.
We even have a downvote for Hank's terrible takes
I
today.
think that was about your
Dang.
take.
That's a
I think Hank
bummer.
actually won the takeoff.
I don't think so.
Yes,
Oh,
I was
no,
due. It's been months.
It has been.
I'm honestly no.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
here's
you-
following the
yeah,
chat
here,
more. I
no.
gotta trust
yeah,
him.
he was
Yeah,
actually a way
yeah.
bigger hater than Hank by like tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah, hater.
Yeah.
Why was I a hater?
You're just always a hater.
Yeah.
Who?
You're not
Everything.
Shit, what are you talking about?
Here's a lover, not a hater. Hank's the hater.
Ooh,
All right.
also, I will have the contracts I would offer all the Broncos free agents up on the website this affinune.
Boom.
go.
Check it out,
Yep.
DNVR.com.
All right. See you guys later.